All right, I just want to welcome everybody tonight. We have a great call tonight about accountability pods / masterminds. And we're going to go over a lot of things has to do with proximity and mindset with them. And also we're going to give you tips on how to make them better. And I'm also going to show you why some of them are failing and why people call me, maybe want another pod, and go over all that. So let me share my screen. So right here, what we're going to be covering tonight is these bullet points on top. Number one, power of a great pod mastermind. There's a lot of them in Jake and Gino, and I'm going to cover them. Number two, I'm going to give you guys an exercise. It's from Tony Robbins. Build your proximity list. It's pretty awesome. It's a lot of fun too. And when you build your proximity list, it will change your life. I did it in 2015. It absolutely transformed my life. And I was doing it kind of right, but he opens it. It's going to open. So everybody uses that phrase, proximity is power. And you know, you really got to learn it instead of just saying it. So once you do this exercise, you're going to study it. Number 3 and 4 bullet points are the two most important ones. Why pods fail or are not successful, I'm going to cover. And then tips and secrets to running a great pod. So first, this is how Tony Robbins does it. When there's a problem, you work backwards. First, you got to see why you're failing to succeed in life. Everybody fails to succeed. Okay. The only reason why you really fail is if you quit. If you don't quit, you don't fail. So what we're going to cover is see why maybe your pod or pods are succeeding. And then once we see why they're not, we're going to get the tips and secrets why they can and why we can make them succeed. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you some homework at the end. I want you to watch the Jake and Gino podcast. Me and my brother, I told my brother, I got so excited when I watched this. I called him up. And you know, it's great. My brother always said, and I talk about time, the asset of time, how I don't read a lot of books. I take more action than books. And I used to read back in 2015. I'm looking to close deals now. So he sends me once in a while a really good podcast that he does. He'll be like, you have to watch this one. Like he sent me one from Tony Robbins' son. He's like, dude, you have to watch this one. So I watch it. He sent me this one, Mastering Your Life from Dr. DeMartini. I was walking when I was watching it. And I usually don't do that. I usually listen to him on the computer because I'm a note taker. And that's how you're really successful in life, is taking notes. Like tonight, 20% of what you hear, you retain, 50% of what you see, you retain, and 90% of what you jot down, you retain. So for the people who are note takers taking notes tonight, you're going to get way more out of tonight than just watching this. And then, yes, you'll get the recording. If you don't take notes, get the recording, jot down a couple notes on really some nuggets I leave for your pods. Okay. So he sent me that and I was walking and I was like, I had to stop. I shut it off. I said, when I went home, I watched when I went home, I took notes. I challenged 95 people to watch it and take notes. And I told them if they didn't do it, they're going to send me a bottle of scotch. And I have plenty of bottles coming because some of them didn't do it yet. So a few of them, Jesse Dickens texts me. He's like, dude, you're giving me freaking homework, like laughing, like, seriously, man, he's closing a deal. He's getting killed at his W-2. The next day he watched it. He took notes. I said, you have to send me a screenshot just to prove you did it. He sent it to me. He sent me a text. Thank you. That was the best podcast ever. Unbelievable life-changing takeaways. So I told my brother, I call him up. I'm like, Gino, the response I'm getting from people, at least 10 people said that. They're like, thank you for forcing me to watch that and take notes. Not even just watch it, take notes on it. You know, I was listening to it. It's like everything I do, but sometimes you do it, you don't realize you're doing it. So when you hear somebody like a master tell you that you're doing it, it's really impactful, because then you do it even more, because now you have that reassurance that, hey, I should have been doing that. So I mean, there's so many amazing things in that. It was I called my brother and I told him, I said, Gino, maybe we should get on and do a free Zoom and go over it.
Yeah, I'm not doing a Zoom call.
Hold on a second. And review it for people, because that's how it was. So we're so busy right now. I'm closing like 3 deals. I don't have the time, but in the future, I'm going to watch it again, take notes again, and maybe I'm going to jump on my brother. We'll do a laid back Zoom.
And Patricia, use your drop.
Let me just see who needs to be muted.
Use drills. She's just putting in.
Guys, if you can mute yourself,
she needs
please.
to put in a screw. So just want you.
Sure.
Okay, there we go. Is that okay? Can I bring it over?
Do you know where it's at?
No, can you do it? You know?
Yeah.
We just find Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
She's very sweet. Thank you so much.
Yep.
I think it's Bryant.
Yeah, it's
All right.
Brian Cerruti.
All right, Brian, please mute yourself. All right, so let me go back. All right. So
Mark,
yeah.
do
So
you mind if I jump in here real quick?
yeah, go ahead, Gino, please.
First thing, everybody, a mastermind principle taken from Napoleon Hill. It's 2 or more people actively engaged in the pursuit of a definite purpose with a positive mental attitude. Masterminds constitute an unbeatable force. Now, again, it's 2 or more people combining knowledge and effort, spirit of perfect harmony, and definite and specific purpose. Now, I think my brother's going to be going over all of these principles tonight, but masterminds are supposed to be a place where you are held accountable, where you have this ability to mastermind, to come up with ideas, to come up with thoughts. There shouldn't be one person on teaching that accountability pod and everyone listening. They should all have that definite purpose, combining knowledge and effort. And one of the things that, after I read the book, Who Not How, and the Gap and the Gain, Dr. Benjamin Hardy talks about the Pygmalion effect. How many of you out there have heard of what the Pygmalion effect is by a show of hands? Didn't know what it was. And it relates beautifully to what we're talking about. The Pygmalion effect in psychology, it's a phenomenon where high expectations lead to improved performance. So you're all on this call right now for a reason. You all want improved performance. Your peer group, the quality of your life is a direct reflection of the expectations of your peer group. Everybody on here wants to succeed. We all want to be successful. That's why with the Pygmalion effect, what we're doing here right now, we're all raising the level of our energy. We're all enjoying ourselves in this mastermind, and we're creating that effect. That's what this is all about. Back in 2015, when I was in my restaurant behind the dumpster on these phone calls, taking these masterminds, that's what it took for me to do it. And I needed that because I needed to surround myself with amazing people. And that's what my brother is creating here right now with the MIH Mastermind, with the Jake and Gino accountability pods. Is it hard work? Absolutely. We can all be doing something else at 8:15 p.m. at night other than hanging around with the rest of us jabronis on this call. But this is where we want to be because we want to raise that level of energy. We want to be able to be locked in. We want the big Pygmalion effect to work for ourselves. So this is where it starts. I've been doing a podcast for the last 5 years. I haven't monetized the podcast, but what I've been able to do is every week I'm on with a different expert. That's my mastermind weekly. I do 2 shows a week. I have to read an average of 1.5 books a week to prepare for these shows, whether it's Stephen Pressfield, Nir Eyal, I had Phil McKernan on, T. Harv Eker, the list goes on and on. That is my weekly mastermind. That's my Pygmalion effect where I need to show up. However we show up in life is how we show up in life. It is everything that we do in life. And the mastermind is where it all starts. Napoleon Hill, he knew all that. He knew that's what fueled everything in his life. When he got together with Thomas Edison, when he got together with Alexander Graham Bell, when he got together with Schwab, he was the dumbest guy in the room, but he was there taking notes. It took him 25 years to amass all that knowledge. But that, like I said, once again, Pygmalion effect raises level. And that's what we're here all about, everybody. And you should try to be on as many masterminds, as many meetups, as many groups as possible with like-minded people. Because Jim Rohn says, look around. The top 5 people you're on, my brother's going to talk about it. That proximity is powerful. If you're hanging around with 5 people that you don't like or that are not pulling you up, you have to choose 5 new people. And yes, it's a choice. And yes, it's a decision. And if you decide not to move, that's fine. You just made that decision. But look around and see who you're hanging around with. And if that group, that peer group is not who you want to be, make that change.
And I'm going to
Thanks,
give an
Mark.
example of the excuses. I'm a beginner. I don't have a unit, and that guy has 100. And I'm going to go over all that. I have my brother here. We're at the restaurant. When I was younger, when I was in my 30s, I used to make excuses, and he would stop and look at me and he would say, stop making excuses. I have a thing on my wall now. It says, focus on, motivation on, dedication on, excuses off. I would go to him. He has 6 kids at the restaurant. I'd be like, yo, I'm tired. I can't do that. I'll do it later. And he'd be like, no, you're doing it now. So since 21 years old out of college, I had my brother and he had me, and we pushed each other. Like, Yosef, you see how I'm insane right now. It's because me and my brother were like that all our life. Like, and we held each other accountable from age 21 till now. We still do, every morning, like Scott, he'll take things out on me. He holds me way more accountable than Scott. You're lucky, buddy. You got that. I'm on the call, so you get it easy when I'm there. But yeah, so let me get right into it. So number one, we're gonna cover example of 3 great pods out there right now. Tyler Randall, I don't know if he's on this call. His pod's been going like 2 years. Fernando and Anna. You know what came out of Fernando's Anna 5-person pod? The underwriting pod. Do you know how? They were doing it for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. Then they got bored because I'm telling you, when I walk you guys on this pod, and by the way, whoever doesn't have a pod tonight is going to text me and I could get him in. I'm starting Jen Brown, Mike Russell, Tina Yules, Sue, and Wan Yi. I'm going to start, but it takes a while. So Fernando and Anna, they were like gotten to 6 months, done with the education. They're like, we're underwriting deals every week. What do we do now? So they used to everybody in the group. They said, let's just start an underwriting pod. Let's a mastermind. Let's get like invite. They got it grew to 10 people, and then everybody wanted to start joining. Now they do it twice a month, 2 Mondays in a month, and they get 50 to 100. They have 300 members on it. They have recordings. What came out of this pod? Infinite success for Anna and Fernando. Infinite success. They're in hyperspeed mode. What I say, like me, Chris, and Joseph are in. They're in 7 deals in a year and a half. They came to Jake and Gino with 0. Okay. How many did they find? Not many of them. The first one was with Ryan Kohler. They helped Ryan Kohler learn underwriting and they underwrote the deal, and Ryan Kohler invited them to the deal. They didn't find the deal. So what are they getting from their pod? Mastermind deal flow. They're networking. They're raising money. They found their partners. Their pod just turned into that. So do I say every pod? No, not gonna turn into it, but that's one success. Joseph, I want you to talk about, I created this pod. You and Mac Benson, I need you to talk about one thing about it's a great thing. You, Mac Benson, Joe Sullivan, Tim Lyons, and Francesca. First, Mac, when I started the pod, I put you as the leader. I was your coach, and you're like, I'm like kind of a beginner, man. I don't have a deal. And I put you on the spot. I made you uncomfortable. And I said to you, I said, Mac, you're educated, Jake and Gino. You're in 7 months. You're underwriting great. You did broker relationships. I said, you walked a $5 million property. You got the best and final, and I got you that deal. Remember that when I was on that call? I said, you're doing this. You're the leader of the pod. Make it happen. I said, that's it. And you're like, well, I feel like Joe's got a deal and I don't. I said, it's not about units, man. You got to be the leader of the pod. You got to learn how to run it, how to push people, how to guide them, how to add value. Everybody's got to add value. So Mac, talk about that situation.
What is your opinion on the marketing campaign behind these sets? Okay. I'll go first. Sure. Here we go. Yes.
Are you out there?
I am. I was
Marco.
wondering what that sound was.
You got to mute Fred.
Guys out there, please mute yourselves. Come on.
Saw them this morning for
And Ryan.
breakfast. I'm gonna take a picture of us.
Joseph, is there that like automatic mute
Were
button?
they mad at you?
Uh,
I wouldn't call them with them.
if you make me a co-host, I will try to mute people.
Yeah. I'll make you co-host. I just made you co-host. Okay.
Okay.
Please
All right.
do. All right. Okay. So Mac, you there?
Yep.
But talk to me. Remember when you first started, how you were worried, and tell me how your pod turned out. How's it going with the pod? I mean, now it's like you've been in a year about it, so it's fizzling down and stuff, but talk about the pod a little bit.
Yeah, we actually decided to rekindle it after MM4. So we were on a bi-weekly cadence, and I mean everybody in there just kicked ass. You named them off. It was Tim Lyons, Joseph, Joe Sullivan, Francesca, Jim. And I mean, I was the quote most experienced out of the group. And I mean, honestly, I was the last to get a deal out of everybody. But everybody ended up getting into at least one deal. I think most of us in multiple deals. And it was just bi-weekly, getting on the call, talking about what's going on, formulating goals and moving forward.
You did bi-weekly. I recommend once a month because between W2 life and the kids, it gives you enough time to do work. But bi-weekly is tough, man. You guys pulled it off. It's great. So Joseph, add a little more to what he's saying, about the pod, how it went, what you got out of it, how you guys ran it.
Yeah, we actually, I think most of the time we did bi-weekly, and we probably skipped once or twice, but other than that, almost probably about a year, we consistently did that. And we came together sharing our wins and challenges and next plans, and then making sure we're doing it And we had a Google sheet where Marco, you created, where we can kind of fill in before the meeting so that we can be more accountable to each other. Because actually, if you fill in this form before coming to the meeting, you want to push yourself to get things done before talking about your wins, because you have more stuff to talk, right? So that's basically how it was run. And, you know, just as Max said, everyone was just killing it. From this pod, I met my first partner, Joe Sullivan. We did very first deal together. And Francesca also did multiple deals, team raising monies, and Ben just did close his deal. And yeah, so everyone was just
here's
taking
another
off.
one. Here's another one. Somebody just joined Jake and Gino. I got him into a pod. And now I'm going to take my time building the pods, guys. You went to an event and I got hammered with a lot of people. Jack Forrest, you're out there, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
So you just joined, you know, and I had you post on Wheelbarrow Profits to crush limiting beliefs. You met some people in the pod, you strategize, and you just, congratulations, bro. You just closed the deal a little while ago, right?
Yes, thank you. I had a small role in that, but yes, we did.
It's small or big, doesn't matter. It's the momentum you're creating, that word momentum. So how's your pod going? Do you find it okay? Is it still going or no?
Oh yeah. We had a meeting last night, and I let everybody know about this one tonight too.
Awesome. And I want you guys to take some notes. I got some good tips coming up in a little bit. So, all right. So there's another pod right there. And guys, it's not like a promise. You get in a pod, you get a deal. No, you got to get in, put the work in. You got to add value. It's people go in the pod, they think they're going to get there and the deals are going to show up. No, you got to go in and add value to people. Like Tony Robbins says, you want to add 10,000 times value and expect nothing in return. And then you get $1 million in return, actually. Just remember that concept. Go in, add a ton of value, expecting nothing, and it'll come back to you. So number 2, build your proximity list. This is important. All those quotes, people use them. You are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Here's an exercise. You could do it while I'm doing this podcast tonight. Tony Robbins, when you go see him, I did Business Mastery 1, transform my life. He says, write down right now the 5 people you are closest, you spend most of your time with. Don't lie. It could be that cousin that's out drinking a lot and partying, and he's number 2 on your list. And you want to know what's going to happen? Make your number 5 list. I did this when I was there with him. You look at it and you're like, oh. And then Tony Robbins goes, yeah, you might move that number 2 out to like 20. It might be a brother or a cousin that shouldn't be at number 2. Not saying you're going to kick him out of the family, but he's bringing you down. So that's your proximity list. So if he's number 2, you might have to move him down to like a 20 or something, saying like, you got to make your top 5 your top 5. Now you're going to see my proximity list. There is absolutely no way I will not succeed. These people on this list will not let me not succeed. They are holding me accountable like you cannot imagine. This list 5 years ago was different. Chris Jackson wasn't on it. Hadar wasn't on it. Yosef wasn't on it. Joe Sullivan wasn't on it. My buddy Martin Carrillo and Nick Puja, they should be number 2 and number 3. They're like my brothers. I grew up with them, but they're not.
That's the things I want to show you there.
Okay, so let's do a couple of these.
They're not number 2 and 3 because they're my friends. It's okay. They can be a little lower. I'm not talking to them every day about multifamily right there. They're not there. So I could have them up there. But on my proximity list, my top 5, my brother and Jake, I'm on a morning huddle with my brother every morning, 15 minutes for Jake and Gino, planning as a student success specialist. Who am I talking to today? Who am I helping? I talked to Robert Liu today. I talked to 4 students today. I did an onboard. So that's 1. Raymond, my cousin, just left his W-2 a year ago. I helped him. He works with me every day, side by side. Chris Jackson, on the phone with him every day, 45 minutes, strategic calls with him. We analytically break down problems and build up the company. And Hadar, my partner from the Mastermind, Yosef Lee, my brosef, he calls me 11 o'clock, 2 in the morning every day. I can't get rid of him anymore. So he's trying to move up to number 2. That's what Yosef's trying to do. Joe Sullivan, Krista Testani, Nick Dominich, Mark Carrillo, Darren Light. As we go down, Darren Light, I'm a partner. Robert Musso, Mike Constancis, John Beatty. John Beatty is 7 figures crypto. He is unbelievable. He runs my crypto mastermind pod. Okay. He actually 60 unit in contract with whatever. Tony Crizzo, my cousin, and then Fernando, Elmer and Ting Ting are they've raised on 2 of my deals. I didn't need it because they're overfunded, but I want them in my proximity. I want them on my team. And then all the way, I have a proximity list of 30 now. It's getting to 50. So guys, what Tony Robbins teaches is start with 5. As your proximity list grows, your success grows. I'm like at 30 or 40. And in 2018, I was at like 5 or 6 that I could really say that were helping me. That's why these pods are important. So now guys, if your pod, you have one, you don't like it, you guys go to the buy right. Here's a tip. Start your own pod. I'm good at connecting people, as you notice. I'm trying to get like Yosef with Joe Sullivan, and it worked, and they're partners. When you're at the buy right, when you're like, wow, I really like those people, grab 2 or 3 people, form your own pods. If somebody drops off your pod, add 2 more. If you have 5 people, you want 10, add 5 more, then just rip it faster. I started a 9-figure multifamily VIP mastermind pod thing, 18 people. We rip it in an hour because it's Andrew Fernando. We're all high level. So we all have like 6 to 10 deals. Literally, we get on success wins, success challenges, 7 minutes, 6 minutes, done. What do you do next minute? Done. 18 people in 1 hour. That's high level. We don't need somebody to scribe taking notes. No, you get your next month, you're accountable. What are you doing? And we do it right now with Yosef in a little bit, how we do it. So that's your proximity list. I want you guys to do 5 people tonight. Okay. Take that list, look at it. If you need to knock a few people off that list, don't feel bad. I had to move somebody around.
Hey, Mark, can I add a couple
Yeah.
things? And then I just want Tony to chime in. I think the first thing with any accountability pod or mastermind, the thing you want to do the most is you want to raise your level of energy. You want to get excited. See how my brother's excited tonight, that
Yeah.
you can feed
Get
off of that
state.
excitement.
Get the fucking peak mental state, man. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Gino.
you feed off that level of energy when you get off the call, when you come home from a boot camp. It's just a different. You've changed your state, you've changed your mentality, you've changed the energy around you, and you're what we call an anabolic level of energy. Your level of energy, you're more engaged, you're more willing to call the broker, you're more willing to talk to an investor, you're more willing to do a property tour after you've got that confidence and that level of energy. I think one of the comments is great. You should be setting personal goals every month after you talk on the call, and not every goal is finding a deal. A goal could be as simple as calling a broker. A
That's
goal
what
could be as
I'm
simple.
gonna get into. A win could be, hey, my daughter had her play this weekend and she did great. That's what I'm gonna get into, Gino. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Another one could be just talking to an investor, going to a meetup, underwriting 3 deals. Every single person in that mastermind pod has a place where they are in life. Somebody may have 3 deals. Somebody may not have any deals. So each pod member sees that and talks to the strengths and to the weaknesses of the person on, and gives them a roadmap of what they need to do. So next month, when you get on the call, let's say I'm on a pod with Senate, and Senate's looking for financing. Well, Senate, did you call 3 community bankers? And Senate's going to go, I didn't do it. Well, guess what? Next month, he's going to do it. That's the power of that accountability piece. I think the last thing is you're creating lifelong relationships here. What's really cool about it, you get on these pods, you don't know these people, and you're on once a month, and you're sharing stuff with them, and it's really stays within the pod itself. And all of a sudden you're learning things about markets. You're learning things about maybe creative financing. You're learning things about how to take over property or how to analyze a deal. And that's the great thing about these pods is you're getting 5 or 6 or 4 different people with different skill sets who are able to add value to each of the other members. And I think that's what we have to really, focus on. Tony Castronovo, you wanted to, before you choked out dinner tonight, you said you wanted to add something to it. So unmute yourself and hit us up, my friend.
You bet. Dinner was good. No, I just want to say, with the boot camp coming up, I've been chatting with a few folks this week just in preparation for that. And to me, I think it's an awesome opportunity to just leave yourself with an action item to find some common ground with some folks that makes sense to have a what I'll call grassroots pod. I think the best pods are the ones that are self-formed. And just as an example, back in August when we had the buy right in Jacksonville, the common thread that several of us had was we were all from Texas. There was like 10 people that, we went through all the exercises, we're underwriting deals, we're talking about deals. And then as we were leaving, we're like, we've got to keep this rolling. So we formed something that we joke about called the Cowboy Cohort. And it's basically about 10 people. We're all in Texas, different cities. And we've been getting together every 2 weeks since August when we left the boot camp. It started a little bit kind of loose where we were just looking at some deals, trying to figure out what the heck we were doing. And now it's to the point where We have a Slack channel that I can tell you just about every day somebody's posting something on the Slack channel. We underwrite deals. We actually have gotten to the point where we're recording the underwriting of the deals so that if somebody can't be on the bi-weekly meeting, they can go and watch a video of what our assumptions were and our thinking was as we were underwriting the deal. And these things have turned into some real opportunities. Literally today, he's probably just driving back now, Ryan Tannell, it was, I guess, maybe late last week, Senate actually sent me an email. He said, check out this opportunity in San Antonio, one of our target markets. So it was coming soon. I pitched it over to the Cowboy cohort. Ryan jumped on it, reached out to the broker, got the T12, got the rent roll, underwrote it, recorded a video, posted it up on our Slack channel. We ended up getting together in our bi-weekly meeting. About 3-4 of us said, that looks good. We're interested. Let's go deeper. Got a property tour. That's where they're at today. And I would imagine we'll have some kind of a debrief tomorrow or the next day and, kind of see what we want to do with that deal.
Tony,
But-
do me a favor, put your name, put your email in the chat box. If anyone wants to reach out to Tony personally and see how he started it, get any other ideas or any other tips on how it worked, because it was loose, but then something actually must have formed while you were doing that. All of a sudden you saw common ground. You saw the fact that, hey, there's 8 or whatever, 10 of us on here. We all have different skills. Ryan Tannell's doing it full time. I may be working a W-2. Well, he has certain skill sets that I don't. How do we perpetuate that? So I think if you put your email in the chat box. If anyone wants to reach out to Tony and say, hey, do you have any tips on what made your pod work? Because I mean, there's so many different reasons why pods work and so many different personalities. And this is awesome. This is really, really cool. Even if you don't get this deal, that's not the goal. We always measure goals by looking backwards. 3 months ago, this wasn't here 3 months ago. Now, 3 months later, you've got deal flow. You guys are learning how to underwrite. You guys are walking deals. I mean, that's amazing in 3 months, 4 months. If you really think about it, 3 months from now, you'll probably have a deal if you continue. So congratulations to you.
So Gino and Tony, you know what you're creating? You're creating this right here. You're creating your proximity list exactly close to mine. So that's what you're creating. And like I always give my brother's best quote in my masterminds and everything to my people: don't fall in love with your results, fall in love with your actions. So you guys are doing the actions that are going to lead to that result of a deal, like my brother. And you're building that proximity list that everybody on there have deals with. John Beatty, I have deals with every single person on there that contributed to one of my deals one way or another. So that's what you're doing with your thing. And then just keep adding people to it. You can get up to 19 people. Like I have this down to a science where I have 20 people on one of them. You just got to rip it. You got to, instead of like having 5 people and they talk 30 minutes, hey, let's go. No, get them trained, get them. I'll show you how I do it with Yosef in a little bit. So you're building your proximity list. So now number 3 and 4, this are the 2 main things of the night. These are the 2 main things I need you guys to pay attention to, because there's many more reasons. But I'm going to start backwards. Why the pods might fail. Why I get that phone call. Hey, Marco, my people don't jump on. I don't like my pod. Can I have another one? And before I even start, guys, pods are not for everybody. When I form a pod and I get on and tell Gino I got a pod call, so I'm going to guide them. I start on, I'm like, guys, do it. You know what? If you don't like a pod, you don't have to do it. Try it out. It might not be for you. It's not for everybody. You might be the one that just wants, because you have the events. You don't need a pod. You have the events. But if the pod's not for you, you don't have to stay on it. And that's why sometimes somebody calls like, oh, he dropped off. I'm like, you know what? I talked to him. He really doesn't like pods, masterminds. So it's okay. I'll get you new people. So let's start backwards. Why the pods might fail. Number 1, you need, like my bro said, I'm an amazing leader on the pod. You can ask Yosef. I push people. I ask questions. I say, I stop. What are you doing next month? I hold them accountable to it. A pod, when I put 5 people together, you guys got to learn. I can tell who's good at leading. Like Hadar's an amazing pod leader. Even like Chris Jackson. Chris Jackson's like amazing at everything, but sometimes he might not be the leader, So like Mac Benson, I made him the leader and I just put him on the spot. I'm like, Mac, you can do this and you're going to do this. I told him what to do. I'm like, you need to help people, guide them, add value, and you got to be the leader of the group. Sure. And by the way, like my brother said, I get into peak mental state before I get on these calls. Tony Robbins, I spent 5 minutes with him face to face because one of my friends works with him. I always tell a story. I asked him, how do you get into peak mental state? He taught me. I literally had 5 minutes with him. He said, pay attention. So there's certain ways I use music, I use meditation, and I get into peak mental state before I get onto my mastermind for my students. I have to bring the energy, and I have to keep that energy up. So once you get on your pods, if you had a bad day, you get on and you're laid back, and it's not going to be a good pod, man. Just it's not even worth getting on, maybe. So I give an example. When I have to make some like sales calls or something, where I got to call like an investor call. My daughter broke her arm. I got on one of the investor calls. I had 3 that day. It went really bad. I was not in state. So it went really bad. And I had that money. So I said, you know what? I'm not doing it. I called it a day. So next day, I got into state in the morning. I did those next 2 investor calls. Boom, done. 10 minutes, they were in. So anything you do in life, in sales, at your job, whenever you're in peak mental state, you will be more successful. I get in peak mental state at 7 in the morning. I have my meditation. I do my walk. And then I get on the call. It's till 1, and in 15 minutes, I can snap back into peak mental state for the rest of the day. 2 times. You could Google Tony Robbins peak mental state and get priming, and you could learn it. Or even better, I'm taking 40 people with me to Business Mastery 1 next time. Scott, you should come with me. So okay, lacking direction and one person that can run a property. Example, show how a leader should run a call. So let's go right now. Yosef, you're out there, right, dude?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's pretend like we're on the pod call and you're the first guy. All right, guys, what's up? All right, so Yosef, you're up. Share me some wins. Your what you're working on and what you're going to do next month. Now, wins once again, guys. It's not closing a property. That's not. We don't have to have a big win. A win could be, hey, I did 3 videos on the buy right. I underwrote a deal this week. I talked to 2 brokers and I walked the property. Or my kids. I went on vacation. I just got back from a weekend with my kids. So Yosef, share some wins and what you're working on.
Sure. Some personal wins. Actually, my daughter won a first prize for a music competition. She played oboe, so that was good. We're really happy. And my legal side still W-2, so we started settling some cases. So there's a good cash flow from firm, so that's good. As far as multifamily goes, we just closed 70 unit a couple of days ago with Sharpline team with Marco. So that's a good win. As a team, we're working on getting a first cash out refi on that. My very first deal, the 44 unit in Kansas.
This is congratulations, bro. This is the deal with you, Joe Sullivan, and Hendra, and I came in and we put the team together. Excellent.
Right.
This is
the
a big
very
moment.
first one.
Big moment for you, bro. First cash out refi. Congratulations, and Hendra and everything. All right, keep going.
Right, and next, also the second deal, 68 unit syndication. We're working on getting the supplemental loan to use as half probably capital recoup and half capex budget. So that's being worked on. And another win, I'll say, just doing a lot of networking calls, meeting amazing people, and met a lot of people who are already here, including Tony, great guy, right? So networking calls is always good.
See, now I got to speed it up. Sometimes when people drag and like, yeah, I'm doing networking calls. That's great. That's awesome, Yosef. You actually did 300 calls in a year. You're that crazy Asian brosef, dude. That's why you're hanging out with me. So let's speed this up, dude. Come on, man. What are you working on?
Right. So,
dude, let's go. What are you working on?
So some plans. Some plans. I gotta finish up a website for you, Marco, and getting ready for the California Bay Area Sharpline MIH event. And also I gotta keep working on my some challenges of making some TikTok videos, right?
All right, and we're working on that social media plan, me and you. So we have a meeting. Do we have a meeting tonight, or are we really going to do that after this? No. All right, maybe we'll revisit that when we get off. But yes,
Right.
so listen, the February event we'll talk about. You're working on that. You're working on the TikToks that you're doing. We're going to get on about our social media plan that we've been building, and that's it. So that's what you're working on next month. Are you stuck in anything, dude? Are you any issues or no?
Yeah, challenges always. Time blocking is an issue. Time management, because my day job, I'm not flexible that much. So that's still is my challenge all the time.
Right, awesome. That's good. Let's move on. Justin, Cashflow Cowboy, you out there still or no? I want to show you, that was kind of a high level. Now the beginners go, but he has deals and he has stuff to do. So no. Justin, you out there? I think he jumped off. That's right. So now guys, that was like more of a high level, but Justin, he's 27, he's got a 10 unit, and his isn't like Yosef, like, oh, I got the refi, this, that. No, Justin's kicking ass. You know what he's doing? He's doing like direct to seller. He's doing a lot of social media videos on TikTok. He's got better. I have over 2,600 units. He's got better videos than me. He's awesome. Okay, so Justin's would come on and be like, it's not him, but it's not about closing deals for Justin right now. He comes on like, Justin, what's your wins, whatever, what are you working on? And he's like, I'm working on one video a week. I visited my property that we're looking at. He's doing a lot of direct to seller, man. He's got a VA that works for him. I was at lunch with him. He got 2 hot leads, and I put up the text on whatever. He's working on his direct to seller. He's 27 years old. He's learning that. Okay, how did he learn it? It just didn't get handed to him. He did the research. He's put the time in. So that's so a beginner too doesn't have any deals. The beginner's more education oriented. I want you guys. That's what I'm going to get to. The pods are formed to get you through the education first, not to get deals. Okay. So number two problem: people commit and don't like the pod structure. It's too much work for them. Sometimes you have a W-2. That's why I say once a month, because twice a month sometimes with the W-2 and the kids might be too much, and then you burn yourself out and you drop out. I'd rather you do once a month and make the time, have the time to do some work. It's not, and then here's number 3, the wrong mindset. This is the biggest reasons. Meaning the wrong mindset is people come in and they come in, oh, okay, I'm in a pod, so this is going to lead to deals. That's the wrong mindset. The right mindset is you come into the pod. The main reason is to get you through Jake and Gino education, to achieve absolute certainty, to give you that confidence to talk to brokers. Once you have that education, you're going to land. When you land the deal, you'll be ready. If you don't have the education, you land the deal, you're not ready. You're going to call Joseph. You're going to call Gino. You're going to call Marco. Hey, I need this. You're going to call your coaches. Can you underwrite it for me? No, you got to underwrite it. Bring it to your coaches. Okay.
Hey,
So
Mark, do you mind if I just add 1 or 2 things from Joseph's role playing with you?
Mhm.
I think one thing that I would like everybody to do in life and in business, and I just learned this the last few years, don't know why, it's measuring KPIs, key performance indicators. If you can't measure it, then you can't manage it. So when you're setting a goal, I'm going to call investors. I heard Joseph say that. I want you as the pod person to say, well, how many investors are you going to call, Joseph? Are you going to call 2 investors or are you going to call 20 investors? How many deals are you going to underwrite? Are you going to underwrite 3 deals or are you going to underwrite 5 deals? How many properties are you going to tour? 1 property or 4 properties? So have specific KPIs so we can measure that and make them realistic. Don't say I'm going to call 20 investors when you know there's no way that you can even call 5 or 6, because then you're just going to deflate yourself. Make it realistic. Make it a little bit of a stretch. And if you call 3 out of 5, great. If you called 5 out of 5, even better. So you have to set up key performance indicators, the KPIs for every facet of your business, for whatever you're trying to measure, because then if you don't know what success looks like. So be really specific with that. And when it comes to physiology and changing your state, it really doesn't take that much. I mean, the first thing you do with physiology is just stand up and just start breathing. Breathe in and out naturally for 30 seconds. If you all do it right now, you'll see how you change your state. The next thing you do is you start laughing. I make Jake laugh before every single podcast. I'll do stupid stuff like, ooh, wee, wee, wah. I'm getting ready. I'll start singing opera to him, and it gets him into state because it just relaxes him. And you'll be amazed at how easy it is to do that, is just to change the state and just make yourself feel great. You smile, you crack a smile on your face, you feel so much damn better. I feel better right now talking and smiling at all you guys. I feel happy, and all of a sudden the endorphins are going crazy in my brain. And I'm back to 0 and I feel great. That's all you need to do with physiology, is just changing the state and making yourself feel good, and let the other side know that, because like I said, how you show up, people feed off of that energy. So it's really, really important. Make that mastermind enjoyable, make it fun. I hate doing podcasts that aren't fun. And that's what this is all about, enjoying these conversations. And you know what? Reveling in those wins. And it's okay when we have those losses, but just physiology is very, very important in every part of your day. It doesn't have to be this huge scientific thing. These little shifts, getting up, moving around, standing straight. I mean, that's all you really need to do with physiology. That's all I got, bro. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's good. I'm standing at a desk. I have my desk in front of me. I have the Veridesk. I tell people I come to the office. I sit down. That's why I'm more at home. I love standing all day. I'm always moving. I'm always walking around. I'm on calls. I'm walking in my office. It's what I talk. I can't sit down. I can sit down. I don't want to sit down because then I'm not productive. The energy level goes down. I want to keep this energy level up. Justin, I see you over there now. You there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here. How's it
I'll
going?
you a little bit, just real quick. Dude, you're 27. You're crushing it. It's not about closing deals in the pod. It's about getting you educated. It's about taking 1% better every day. You're getting 1% better every day. What are you working on, bro? Tell them all the great stuff you're doing. Not like I have to get that deal. To get that deal, what are you doing?
Oh yeah. 3 posts a week, social media. And this is actually the beautiful thing about that is deals are actually kind of coming to me through the social media, right? You put a presence out there, you're doing deals and people
But
want
it's not
to
just
get
the
you
crappy
involved.
posts. You're taking your time. You're building a good post, and you
Yeah.
don't have 2,000 units. You have a nice, great 10 unit that you
Yeah.
found.
That's
You
it.
know, with a great team, George Rodriguez. So you're doing. I tell people you don't need 3 posts, 1 post a week, 1 post every 2 weeks when you're starting out. But you're doing really good at it. So 3 posts a week. Keep going. What else are you doing on
Yeah.
direct seller?
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah, and I got a VA that is actually doing front line of defense for calling and texting for us. So we have him set up where he's making about 500 calls and texts a month to property owners, and then if it's a hot lead, it comes to myself or George, right? So that's where we're focused at.
When I was having lunch with you that
Yeah,
day.
yeah. So I was down in Orlando the last month and a half, and I came back to Michigan, and I had about 8 or 9 hot leads that I gotta get to. And so that's like, as far as in a pod, that's what I would be bringing to the pod right now. I'd be asking you guys, hey, I'm now the wink link in our business, because if I'm traveling, I can't service hot leads, right? What are your suggestions as far as how can I improve my business, right? I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, first thing I would ask is, what is a hot lead? How do you define a hot lead?
If they're ready to see an offer to see their property, or if they're ready to be met at their property and start talking negotiations.
Yeah.
So is
we're
there
sitting
somebody
there-
else? Is
Yeah.
there somebody else on your team that can handle that when you're not there?
Yeah, so we put that in place for Indiana. We have George Rodriguez. He's Jake and Gino. He's also MIH, handling Indiana, but I'm Michigan, right? So I'm supposed to be here more to actually service them. But when I travel, I realize I'm the weak link. So
So then what I would do is probably stop the marketing when you're not around, because you're wasting marketing dollars, and it's all getting you need that speed and access. There's 2 things you could do. You could stop the marketing for Michigan and double up and get more marketing to Indiana for when you're gone, or you can find somebody to step in your place when you're missing. You can train that person up, put systems in that they can take that lead from you. There's those 2 options that I see right now, right off the top of my head. I don't know if anybody else has any other thoughts to share.
Yeah.
yeah, I've never actually considered stopping marketing, right? You're just like, you want to just go, but
Justin,
it's
now-
like wasting dollars, right?
Next mastermind call, I'm going to remember that. We're going to get everybody. And we're going to solve. What do? We solve problems.
There's nothing more painful than spending marketing dollars and lighting money on fire, and that will deflate you, because you'll beat yourself up because you weren't there for that lead, and then all of a sudden that lead was there and you weren't able to service him, and then all of a sudden it's just like the next one. It just becomes self-perpetuating, because you're gonna miss it, and you're gonna get down on yourself. So it's one of 2 things. I mean, travel less. That's another option. Maybe you leave
I don't
less.
know about that. We got the San Francisco trip coming up.
So
I
that's
don't
what I'm
know
saying.
about
So
that.
that's off the table. So then you really have to figure out what you're marketing and just pause the marketing or stagger the marketing.
Yeah. So Justin,
Appreciate that, Gino.
This is Aaron. Sorry, but one of my ideas was, do you have like a property manager or an agent or somebody who you really trust who works in your area, who you could kind of train how to go through and take videos and photos of properties and then upload them to a Dropbox, and then you could look at them and view them while you're
That's
out
a
and stuff?
Great idea, Aaron. I actually have not, in the local market that I was marketing to, I have not set that up yet. And that honestly would solve everything, right? Because then you can utilize them
Right.
for putting all that together. And then also you can utilize them for deal flow as well.
Yeah, so I'm a broker out here in Western Washington, and I'll tell you, so we like to take a month-long trip out to Florida and hang out in Gino's neighborhood, over at Disney World with our kids. And so during that month, I'm out of town, and I can pretty much do every part of my business from wherever, as long as I have internet and phone connection, except for physically be present at a property. And that's exactly what I did. I've got a guy who I refer. He's a property manager. I refer clients to him for property management. And the way that he gets me back is not financially, but when I'm out of town, he can cover some of that stuff for me. So this was a very synergistic relationship.
Love it. Look at this, the pod working right here, Marco. What a good example. I appreciate that, Aaron.
I'm so successful. I have two 9-figure masterminds I run for free. They're free, graduates. I've been doing the mastermind for 2 years. There's no way I can. It's just I'm on fire every day. Okay, so let's cover why another pod's go. Different time zones. I get busy. I don't sometimes see, there's 3 people in California, two in New York and Eastern and Pacific, and they do it 8 o'clock at night. And the Pacific guys are at their W2 and they can't. So what I'm trying to do now, when I'm forming the pods, I'm going to try and keep East Coast together and West Coast together. I want to mix it before, because some people are flexible during the day, that a guy on the West Coast can meet at 3, but then another guy can't. So that's another thing, the time zones, the meeting, try and meet, when to meet, 8 o'clock at night, in the afternoon. This is really big. This is the most important one, the word journey. And my mastermind members are going to be tired right now of me explaining this again. And it's 0 units versus 100 units. In the pod, everybody is on their own journey. And you don't look at somebody else's journey. You need to get inspired by somebody, not distracted by somebody. For example, the person with 0 units, his journey in the pod is probably 6 months to a year of education. Not dropping an LOI in 2 weeks and getting that property. I mean, he could get in 2 weeks, but is he ready? No, he's not educated enough. Does he have a KP? Does he have the banks lined up? Does he have the broker? So that he doesn't have everything. So the person with 0 units in a pod, I warn them, because the person sometimes with 0 units is like, I want to be in a pod with people with a lot of deals, and but I warn them, I'm like, they're going to be at hyper speed and you're not. So they're going to be dropping LOIs. They're going to be doing refis like Yosef. That was a high level thing. So when I put a Justin and a Yosef together, I can put them together, but I give this journey speech for about 30 minutes. Okay. So I tell the person at 0 units, you need to be inspired by the person at 100 units who's got 3 deals in contract and hyper speed, not distracted by him, not get discouraged by him and fall off. And then the 100 unit guys with the hundreds, he's got to encourage a person with 0 units and tell him, like, listen, like Chris Jackson gets on, and me, I had a person on my mastermind. She closed 3 deals this year, and Gino's going to love this. And she was like down one day, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? I had to talk her out of it. I had a separate 45-minute call with her. I'm like, well, I'm stuck. I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you're stuck? In 2013, I had 2 commercial crappy properties in New York and a 4-family with my brother. I did my first property, 26 unit with Gino in 2013. I was 36 years old. Okay. I did 1 deal that year. Refied it a year later, took out the $40,000. I put it into a second deal in 2014. I did 1 deal that year. 2015, I did 2 deals. 2016, I did 2 deals. So I said to her, you did more deals in 1 year than Marco did when he started, and I have 2,600 units. She's like, really? I'm like, yes. You see me now in 2020, I closed 7 deals, but I've been doing this for 20 years. So it's like a Bill Hamill. Bill Hamill's been doing it 20 years. I put him in a pod. He's managing 7 properties. He's got 4 LOIs out. So this is that journey talk, and this is very important. And you don't want to be the smartest person in the room, all these stupid quotes. You want to be the person with 0 units in a pod with maybe 1 or 2 really high level people to be like, holy crap, you'll get there. You need to stay in multifamily 10 years. Okay. It's not about closing that deal. Neil Shoup took him 2 years to get his 8 unit. Now he's refining 500 grand out. Okay. So, and Neil Shoup, if you guys are stuck, write this down, reach out to Neil Shoup and network with him. By the way, I forgot to say, guys, Justin, put your cell phone up. Everybody reach out to Justin, network with Justin. Okay. Ask him tips. How's he finding deals? How's they doing direct to seller, everything. So that journey is important. Gino, you want to elaborate just a little bit on that journey, what I said, if I make sure I did it correctly? Did I,
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is the person who has 100 units, who has experience, you might be asking, well, why would I want to be on a call with somebody who has none? Sometimes when you have all the experience and you're always looking inside the box and you think you know it all, you get on the call with somebody who's a novice and who's just doesn't know the possibilities are endless. And you may be in a conversation with them and say, I never thought of it that way. And they may be asking you, hey, how about doing creative financing on that deal? And the expert might say, I never thought of that. The novice is just bringing that energy. And it's just an amazing way to stay locked in. And also the other thing is, my brother loves Tony Robbins, is always talking about him. The 6th human need is contribution. Talk about having a great day. When you have 100 units and you're talking with somebody that has none, and you're helping that person and you're solving problems for that person, you get off the call, you are excited. I mean, I get on every coaching call. At the end of these coaching calls, I'm thrilled. I love having these calls because I find enjoyment, excitement, helping people out. And I think that's That's how I live the best version of myself. And I think that's how I think most people out there want to contribute in life is to live the best version of themselves by helping others. So if you have you're experienced operator and you're out there and you're helping others, you're going to say to yourself, oh, that was a great call. I really enjoyed that. And you never know. You can always learn from somebody else. You can always learn from their struggles, because next call you may be down and that person may help you. And as far as the journey goes, for me, we don't compare ourselves against others. We're competing against ourselves. We're always looking at ourselves.
Right? Gino, Dr. Martino goes over that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Dr. John DiMartino, he's a polymath. He's a much smarter person than Jake and myself put together. But wealth is about creating, it's supposed to be boring. It's supposed to be not exciting. And for the journey, when I started out, I was always looking at what other people are doing. You go on Instagram, you go on in the book by Dr. Ben Hardy, The Gap and the Gain. If you continue to do that, you will be living in what he calls the gap, always comparing yourself to others. That's the negative energy. The gain is, well, I am going to compare myself to myself. I'm going to measure what I've done, all the stuff that I've contributed and done. And then that's how you live in that gain, in that positive state. So don't worry about what other people are doing online. Social media is a trap for that. And we can't affect about what someone else has done. You can always say that person's doing great. Well, that person may have had more resources. They may have had more experience. They may have had more time. They may have had a much bigger why. It doesn't matter. So you can't really, judge yourself against what everyone else is doing. That journey is important. We are all on a journey. And as I guess Luke Wren likes to say, you are exactly where you need to be to where you need to go. That's what the journey is all about. There's the struggle, figuring out what the why is, and you're all in the right spot right now to go where you want to go. So just always keep that in mind and look at others as an inspiration. You see someone driving a beautiful car and you may be a little envious or jealous of that. If you have that emotion, unfortunately, you're never going to attract that car. It's the same thing with money. Don't look at them as that. Be excited for that person. Say, I want to emulate that person. I want to emulate their success, and use that as an inspiration, as motivation for yourself.
So I'm going to get moving on because we were on the pause. Let's go. Let's do this. So on the no energy part, you guys are here. I say this with confidence, in the best community, Jake and Gino community. You want to know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because from the Jake and Gino community, I met Yosef. He's in my company. I met Chris Jackson. I have 8 deals with him. I met Hadar at MM3. I have a business with him. So if it wasn't for my brother, and if it wasn't for me I did the Jake and Gino, my brother put me on the spot in 2016. He's like, bro, you need to get educated. Because I was at the restaurant. I was the chef, dude, winning 10 awards. And I had the passive. I was investing in deals with my brother all my life. We bought our first floor fan. But he's like, you need to get educated, because when you do leave in a year or two, you need to fall back on something. You can't just sit at the beach. So it's the Jake and Gino community is your first stop. Okay. For I'm looking right straight ahead. I look at Aaron Nelson. Jesse Dickens had a deal and he's like, yo, we're looking at maybe one person. What did I do? I was like, Aaron, I called him up. I'm like, it's not just anybody. I'm like, Aaron, you want to take a look at this deal? They need somebody really good. And I referred him, like he's an A+ guy. Looked at the deal. He liked it. They closed on it. 24 units, right? Yeah. That's the only deal I'm a KP on. I could KP on 100 deals. I don't need to, but Jesse called me up and he wanted me to KP on the deal, and I was honored you guys asked me. Awesome deal. And look at that, Jake and Gino community is here. You know what I'm saying? It's life changing. So the energy, you want to, on these pods, you want to bring this energy, because like Jack, he did a deal with people already. Bill Hamill just did another deal with Matt Dunn. It's that one deal you look, it's that community. So what you want to do is bring the energy to your pod. Just go with the mindset above, add a lot of value to people. And then it's going to come back to you. If you guys all have that mindset of you're all going to add value, you're going to have an amazing pod call. That it's just getting into that mindset of adding value, and that's it. So if you show up, if you're having a bad day, man, tell them. Then don't go on. Listen, I had a terrible day at work. My daughter's, my wife's got COVID or whatever. It's okay. You could reschedule it. Tips for success now. Now we broke it down. Now we're going to build it up. Okay. Usually pods last 6 months or a year, and I'm going to teach you how to be creative. How Ann and Fernando built the underwriting pod. So number one, the opposite of above. Find the person who could be the leader. I love being a leader of a pod. I'll get on. I'll be like, Yosef, do it. Let's rip it. Good. Move on. Let's go. Next person. If people start rambling, move them along. Be like, yeah, that's good. Let's go. Come on. What's your next step? Okay. So you got to learn how to be a leader. I always was a leader because I had the restaurant. Me and my brother worked together. and we ran the restaurant and we taught each other how to meet. My brother would push me and I would push him. Entrepreneurs are good being leader, business owners, and even somebody in corporate who's like the head of IT that has 30 people under them. Those are the types of people in your group. If you see somebody has that skill, let them be it. Try and get the best person in your pod to be the leader, you know? And in Fernando's, they're a leader. Tyler Randall ran a pod for like 2 years. I was on there one time just to check how they're doing and give them some advice. Dude, their pod was awesome. They had, I think Nick Amaluxon was on there before he became a coach. Nick Amaluxon, Kyle Marcotte, a couple of people, I can't remember exactly who. Their pod was freaking awesome. Tyler was a badass running it. I learned from him. He's like, all right, let's go. Next guy, who's up? Let's go. He had the freaking energy. And he didn't even know he was doing it, you know? And then I told him after, I'm like, this is what you're doing, man. He's like, really? I just like it. I'm like, you're in state. You were pushing. It was great. So Tyler Randall, I think they still might meet, but they've been going like 2 years. Joe Sullivan's pod was great. The same thing. They have a good leader in their pod. All right. In the pod, build an education plan for everybody. Okay. So like I said, the number one thing I tell people for the pods is really get you guys educated. When you come in, I usually wait 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I let you get comfortable, get through some of the education. Then I call you, hey, you want a pod? Okay. So here's the plan. When I do the onboarding and I get you guys on, I build a networking plan and an education plan for you. So the education plan was in 2016, when Gino gave me the education, said, you have to do it. I want to get the hell out of there. He wanted me to leave in 2016. I mentally wasn't ready. I'm like, bro, I need a couple of years. And after 3 years of him not being there, it was all money, not fun. That's when I had to leave. But in 2016, I went to work in the morning at the restaurant. I cut out, I went at 8 when I used to go in at 10:30. I went in at 8 early, turned the lights on, set everybody up, got the reps out, left at 11 o'clock, have lunch with my wife at 12, from 12:30 to 4 every day, from Sunday to whatever, no, Monday to Friday, but then Saturday and Sunday I did it 5 days a week. I did like 4 hours. I got the education done fast. I got it done, took notes. I did it a second time. Okay. So build your plan. Then when I onboard somebody, I don't say you have to do 5 days. No. Mac Benson had 3 kids at the time and his W-2 is kicking his ass. I built a plan with Mac. I said, Mac, what are you, a morning person? He's like, yeah. Why don't you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 to 8, or Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 6 to 8 or something. 2 hours at least 3 days a week. He's like, yeah. I'm like, can you do that? He's like, yeah, I could do 3 days a week. So I'm not going to push Mac to do 5-6 days a week. I don't want you to get burned out. I want to keep you encouraged and getting the education done. So build that education plan in your pod for people. Keep them accountable. Like you're doing, because it's like going to the gym. Treat the education like the gym. Be consistent. That's that word. Be realistic and consistent. Those are the 2 words. Okay. So I think you guys who are in pods, build an education plan. All right. And keep them accountable. Success leaves clues. Wheelbarrow Profits Facebook page. That's another Tony Robbins quote, Gino. So invite people, go look at, I tell them this is, everybody's going to start getting invited to pods. It's crazy after they see this, but go look at it. Lee Ford just closed a deal. Invite him to your pod. My brother created this freaking go-giver community. You call Lee up right now. He absolutely will come on. People love in Jake and Gino feed off my brother of that go-giver thing and me and everybody here. Lee will come on your pod and he'll talk about his deal, how he found it. Was it broker off market? Was it broker on market? Was it direct to seller? Did he walk on the property, pretend to rent an apartment and say, hey, how much are the apartments for rent? And the guy says 700. He goes, are you the property man? No, I'm the seller. You know how many times that happens? We teach people how to do that. So get Lee to come on. And how do you find it? Or just write closed on the search in the Wheelbarrow Profit to show you everybody close the deal. Invite Joe Sullivan close the deal. Jack Forrest just closed the deal. How did their team find? So be creative. Invite some people on. Let's see. Invite guests. Here's another way to be creative. Once you guys get to month 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're done with the education and it's starting to get like flat, I don't know much to do. I'm not really succeeding with the brokers. I'm not getting deal flow and you're getting in that funk. Invite a realtor on. Invite a property manager is really good. Brandon Wells. I don't know if he's on tonight. Brandon Wells is a badass. He's got Wells Way Management, man. He's expanding. Justin, you don't have his contact, do you?
I do. I'll drop it in the chat.
Put it in the chat, dude, because you know why? He wants to network with people because he listens to me. I'm mentoring him. So he wants to meet all you guys. Invite him on your pod. He's great with management. He wants to do deals. He's growing. He's friends with you, Justin, right?
Oh yeah, great friends with me. And his business is blowing up. I mean, as far as getting technical property management, he's a great guy to have on your team, even on the asset management side.
So I don't have everything listed here, guys. Here's a few more. Loan officers, how you get deals? Get construction guys onto your thing. Who knows sellers? Property managers, construction guys. And then more things, anybody in the field, so invite people, be creative. Here's another thing to be successful. If people drop off your pod, it's okay. You're going to the buy right. You had a person of 5 people, 2 people dropped off, add 3 people to buy right. Go there. Hey, you want to be on our pod? We're kicking ass. Call Tony Castronova. Maybe ask him to join his pod. Okay. Here's another idea. Here's the homework I gave you. Follow my brothers. They have the best ones, man. Gino, what we got to do one day? We got to make, because I'm lucky you send them to me. I got to get somebody like me and Scott, or I got to pick like your best 30 podcasts and make like a list of them, like the Tony Robbins' son one. I know most of them because you usually send them to me. Get these podcasts, guys. If you guys get bored, watch them, take notes, break them down, get in the pod and review them. Learn together. What takes did you get from it? What'd you learn from it? What can we implement from that podcast into our business? How can we get better? Okay. I'm telling you right now, that one, you guys watch it. I want to challenge everybody here in Jake and Gino, all 200, 300, how many of Jake and Gino's, watch it and take notes and send them to me. You will thank me. Okay. If you're going well and you take it to the next level, create a high level one. For example, Tony created like his own like higher level mastermind. I have 2 9-figure masterminds. I'll give you an example who's in it. Craig Napoliello. He just closed a $50 million deal and has like 4 deals in contract. Anna and Fernando have their 7 in contract. And I created a higher level one from that. And if you guys don't have a pod and I create them, guys, go on Jake and Gino, start your own pod like Tony did. Okay. What we do on my pod, like Yosef, is we build 3 focus areas. Yosef's 3 focus areas are education, networking, and deal flow. Yosef, what was your 3 areas? Education, action. So for 6 months, those are his 3 focus areas, and each under focus area, he's got actions. So it's education, networking, and taking action, as in deals and his current deals. So on the education, we teach, be a student for people. Look, like Marco's been doing this 23 years. I have 2,600 units. I teach the mindset. I teach, be a student for life. I'm learning I'm watching my bros podcasts every day. I not only watch the best, and monetization of your time. If there's a beginner, hey, he's my friend. I honestly, you know what I teach? Don't watch his podcast. See, you're not going to, your time is precious. Like it's that, if an average book, I don't read average books. I make sure I'll call my brother, I'll call Yosef. How is that book? Is it really good? Time is the asset you can't buy. So it's monetization of your time on that. So, just go over the best ones and watch and review, learn together. Even books, break the books down in your pod. So the main thing I'm getting at, guys, I don't even have them listed here because I could sit here and list another 10 to be successful. Be creative. Do anything you can to keep that pod going. If you go for a year, even if it dies down, Yosef said his died down after a year, they got it back together. You know what I'm saying? Now he's actually on the phone with Joe when we do a weekly company call. So, but there's your homework, your last action step of this call. Do the homework, guys. Really do it. It's really going to help you in your journey of multifamily in life.
Mark, let me add a couple of things that are really important to any student who wants to be able to learn and retain the knowledge. There's a book out there that Ken Blanchard wrote. It's called Know, Can, Do, KNOW, Can Do. And there's 3 things in there that tell you why we don't learn. First of all, we have information overload. There's so much information at us, and we're consuming so much information that it's just overwhelming. The second reason is we have stinking thinking. Behaviors are belief driven. If you believe that you can learn this content and you sit down and you consume it, you're going to learn it. If you think it's overwhelming and you can't learn it, you won't. That's the reality. So that negative behavior, those behaviors, they need to be believable. You need to be able to believe it. And the third one is what we call spaced repetition. You need to watch a video and then consume it, go back to it a couple of days later, watch it again. And let's say some of you on this call right now are going to the live event this weekend. It's the same concept. You go to the live event Saturday, Sunday, you take notes, you get energized. When you go back home Monday, if you don't review what you learned over the weekend, you're going to forget it. So it's called spaced repetition, to be repeatable, to go back, and don't be afraid, because it's the dopamine. Because I do the same thing. I read a book, I'll read it in 3 days. I might retain 5% of it. If I really want to learn it, the key to learning something is thinking yourself of teaching it. getting on a podcast and actually learning how to read this book and going through the 3-step framework and learning the buy right. Always have that in the back of your mind when you're trying to retain knowledge. Be a student, but also think about learn, do, and teach. And if you're in the mindset of having to teach this material, you're going to go back and you're going to learn it a few times. And there's another thing that I would also tell everybody to do. Learn what type of learner you are. When you're going to, my brother's talking about in state and all, are you a visual learner? Are you an audible learner? Or are you a kinesthetic learner?
All the time, dude. I always tell people like, hey, my brother loves to read books. I like to watch the videos. Like I like to learn that way.
Yeah.
It's audible like Jake.
But you could be a little bit of both. I can't listen to an audiobook and learn that way. What I do is I like video. I like watching video, taking notes. The subconscious likes when you start writing notes down. Then I'll read the notes and then I consume it that way. And then I will listen to it. So it's VAK. We have a little bit of each of them, but which one are you? What kind of words do you use? I like to listen. I see that. I feel that. Kinesthetic are people who like to go out and do things. I'm a little bit of that also. I want to be immersed in doing things. I learn that way as well. That's why it's very hard when we go to school. We're all supposed to be sitting down and taking notes and listening to the teacher. A lot of people aren't auditory. It just doesn't work for them. So find out what type of learner you are. You can just Google VAK or Google learning styles and the 3 will pop up and you can take a simple quiz and see which one you're best at and gravitate towards that and learn that way. But that spaced repetition is important. I read the book. I take the notes. I read my notes, I actually input them into my computer because a lot of you know that I have notes on books, and then I'll go back and read it again if I have to. So that's I get it 3 or 4 times. I space it out, but I always have the belief that I'm not dumb enough that I can't understand this knowledge, and I will understand the knowledge, and that I have to translate it back to the community. So I'm always thinking that I have to learn this well enough that I can able to teach it, and that's how we should all be learning that content. So I would just tell everybody that book by Ken Blanchard, No Can Do, is a great resource to be able to learn. And once you learn that, and once you get your own little style going on, it's much more comfortable. You'll be able to learn material so much more easier.
So ending this call, and we'll take some questions. I'm going to stop sharing a little bit. I want to give one really last big tip, and Yosef will know this. And there's 4 people I use in my life right now that people I think want like 10-minute videos, 5-minute videos, because we're in such a fast-paced iPhone. We're losing this attention span. So they're actually creating that. My number 1 person is Tony Robbins, like my brother said right there. Business Mastery 1. Wyatt Simon and Jake and Gino, he called me up so pumped up that for one of our calls, he's coming with me. I have like 40 people signed up. I get, it's like 6,000 to 10,000. I get it at 6,000 because it's 10,000 for 5 days. But I'm actually going to get free people now because my friend's works for him. We might even, I don't want to do it virtual because he's doing it virtual now. He was supposed to do it back in person, but Omicron came. I was supposed to go in September in person. I'm waiting for him to do in person. Whoever's on here tonight, if you want to transform your life, you come. Everything I did at the restaurant with my brother, LaGuardia Airport Catering, Sloan Kettering Catering, cooking classes, Jar de Marinara sauce. Gino had the cooking book. We had a knife set. All this stuff, Tony Robbins. Innovation, constant innovation, evolution, strategic marketing. This is what he teaches in the 7 Force of Business Mastery. Whoever's on here tonight, when we talk, just send me a text. I'll give you the info. It's probably looking like January of 2023. It's worth the wait. I'm probably going to bring 60 people. I went by myself last time. It will absolutely transform your life with your wife, with your job, and with your multifamily. Okay. Everything you see me do, these crazy posts and stuff, and all this marketing, I'm with the deals. It's all I learned from Tony Robbins. That's number 1. Number 2 is Eric Thomas that my brother had at MM3. Absolutely blew me away. I shook the guy's hand. I looked in his eyes. He actually said to me, he goes, "This is Eric Thomas." He goes, "Hey, Jake and your brother told me some of the great stuff you're doing at the restaurant." I'm like, "Dude, you from Eric Thomas, the #1 motivational speaker in the world, you're saying that I'm doing something good?" I'm like, I'm just a cook, dude." He's like, "No." He's like, "You tell me about like, your cooking class and stuff." He was impressed. He goes, "You're getting it for your family, man." That's what he talks about. Eric Thomas is number 2. I use him for people say their why. He tells you, get up. You got to put food on the table. It's not just your why. That's your family. Like, he yells at you. That's my number 2. My number 3 is Gary Vee for social media marketing. Gary Vee says, you have a fucking phone. Learn how to use it. Stop wasting time on your phone. He's like, I didn't have this growing up. At the restaurant when I was 23, I had a cell phone in the car. It didn't work. It was a flip phone. Imagine if I had this when I was 23, where I really would have did, Gino. Okay, in social media. Can you imagine what I would have did at 23 years old, dude? And what I did once I did get the phone and the Facebook page. So Gary Vee, I use he does He's a master, bro. Follow him on Instagram. He does 30-second clips. He just the things he says. His family from Russia, and he goes on Saturday to yard sales and buys cards, and he's a multi-billionaire, and he'll go and he'll make like 400, like $700 that day, and he's like, I'm a billionaire and I hustled and I made $700 today. What'd you do? You're watching Netflix, right? So I mean, I use him for number 3, and number 4 is David Goggins, which a lot of people don't like him. He curses a lot, and I don't mind it because me and my brother were Italian and we tend to curse too much once in a while. We cut it down when we're at the restaurant. But David Goggins gets in your face. And one thing I love about David Goggins, between yelling at you, I'm learning train your brain. And that's tied in with Tony Robbins. I'm learning, me and Chris are working on this, how to train your brain. Like your brain is that gremlin fighting you saying you can't do it. And you say, no, I'm going to fucking do it. So David Goggins, I use as number 4, and I'm learning how to train my brain against things and anything. Like you want to lose weight, you want to get a deal. I can't get that deal. No. So here's how David Goggins says when he goes, he had to train. He goes, I can't swim. He goes, I'm going to go do it. I can't do it. Go back again. I can't do it. Go back again. I can't do it. Keep going back. And then he always says, I did it. I can swim. So if you want, those are my 4: Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, Gary Vee, and David Goggins in certain orders for certain things. I don't use David Goggins for everything. I know, Gino, you wrote his book. Do you like David Goggins? You're on mute, dude.
Sorry about that. I'm just answering questions. Yeah, I've actually tried to get him on the podcast. I can't come on. He's fighting forest fires out in the West. He's a crazy dude. I think with him, to me, he's a freak of nature. He's a very fortunate man to be alive. I mean, his heart condition and all, he really pushed himself, and he had a traumatizing youth, young growing up. I mean, the guy does 4,000 pull-ups. He's a machine. He's mastered his mind. He's done, the bad water and bad mountain runs of 120 miles in 100-degree heat. Yeah, I mean,
check him out on YouTube. There's 7-minute videos. You don't have to he has 2-hour videos. What I recommend is get a couple. There's one, train your brain. Oh, visualization. I learned, like, I'll look at Yosef. I'm becoming a master at visualization and a vision. Yosef will talk to me and I stare at him, and I see his 1 year, 5 year, and 10-year vision. I'm becoming awesome at visualization. David Goggins has a video on it. And I met with somebody the other day, and I wrote down, in 2 years, you're leaving your W-2. And I wrote down, I looked at him, he talked to me for 5 minutes. I gave him what he's going to do in 2 years. I wrote it down. I'm about to throw it out. He goes, don't throw it out. It's a friend of mine. I literally said, how many deals are going to be in? He goes, put that in your safe. I did this with Joe Sullivan. We're on the phone with Joe Sullivan. And I said, Joe, you're leaving your job in a year. This is what's going to happen. You're getting in this, and this. You're going to do this, and this. I'm going to get your income to this. I'm going to grow you. 6 months later, Joe Sullivan calls me. He's like, dude, quit my job next week. I went, we're so busy. I'm like, dude, it's not a year, is it? He goes, no, it's 6 months. You predicted a year, and I did it even less. He was he didn't think he was going to do it. When I told him a year ago, you're leaving your job, he's like, he didn't think, how am I leaving my job, Marco? I said, this is how you're going to do it. I see your vision. I put the vision in his mind. I told him what was going to happen. He wrote it down. You got to wake up and visualize it. You look in the mirror, you visualize it every day. I do visualization every day. And everything Yosef sees it, he blows him away. It comes true, even for Yosef. So that's what I use David Goggins for: train your brain and visualization, and tied in with Tony Robbins. So those are just a few last tips. Let me stop share. Gino, you could take questions. If we're an hour 20 in, it's not bad. I thought I was going to do an hour 30, 2 hours. So if anybody wants to drop some questions to my brother, doesn't have to be pod related, could be multifamily related, guys. You got the G Daddy on the phone, so here's your chance.
I just answered a couple of questions on there as far as length of time. It really depends on how many people. If you have a pod with 4 people, if everyone speaks 5 minutes in the beginning, that's about 20 minutes, and then open up for questions. And then I would say 45 minutes to an hour per pod call would be more than enough.
I run with 5 people. I usually run an hour and a half, and I usually I love them, man. I like to be on for 2 hours. And guys,
that's a long pod. That's
I know it is. It is. I know, but we're giving a lot of value. That's why I know. So yeah, you're right. An hour to an hour and a half. But I don't do this to close deal. I love to add value to people. It's that go-giver. I can be a go-giver now. In 2016, I couldn't be that go-giver. But I got to be honest with you guys. I get into such state with these pod calls for my members, for Yosef, and for my team. After 2 hours, I'm done. I'm actually tired. I'm tired. Like, I'll go and I have a little scotch, and I'll calm it down. And because I gave so much effort into it. And it's okay. I want you guys to do that. I want you guys to get into state now for your team. I want you to get on, bring value, do the education. Even if you have 0 units, doesn't matter. Get by the end of the call, I want you to be tired. Not that it's stressful that you gave your all. It's okay. That's what it's about, you know. So let's see. Any other questions?
I don't see anymore. I just put my email in the chat box. If anyone wants to email me, it's gino@jakeandgino.com. The market right now seems like there's some deals that are coming out on the out after NMHC. It looks like everyone's freaking out about interest rates. Looks like rates are going up. I mean, you hear different things from different people. And, you know, the market's been high for the last 3 years. Where is it going to go? Don't know.
On the Monday Masterclass, we did it. John Beatty can talk about inflation. John Beatty's great with crypto. What's going on? He predicted the top in November. It's crazy on the crypto chat. Literally the top. He predicted Bitcoin at 32,000 right now. I'm not kidding. He's like, I want to pick up some Bitcoin at 30 handle, and it'll happen in this like second week of January. This is back in November. I'm not joking. So he's good to, if you need somebody on inflation, him, interest rates. Also, I had to talk with John and Chris about interest rates. If people chime in on that, yeah, about the market.
Marco, the last thing I would say on this call is we did the masterclass Monday with Phil McKernan, and Phil McKernan is a very difficult person to get a hold of. I mean, he's a high-level life coach, and I don't know, for any of you who were on the call, how many were on that call Monday? By your show of hands. I mean, was it an amazing call or what? And for those that didn't listen to it, it's in Masterclass Monday. A couple of really thought-provoking questions that he asks on that call. The first thing is, you know, what conversation are you not having right now that you need to be having with anybody or anything in this world? That's a tough question. And that'll tell you what your next step in is. And the other thing that he talks about is personal vision. You know, we all need to have our own personal vision. We all have our own goals. What is your personal vision? And this tonight is part of my personal vision, what my brothers put together here, and the community of people that we've assembled in Jake and Gino. That's what my personal vision. I didn't know it was until it became a thing. And I'm like, wow, I really like this vision. And if you guys can all figure out what your personal vision is, we're not chasing money. We think we're chasing money. We're ultimately chasing opportunity, and we're chasing to be able to live a higher, better, or higher version of ourselves. That's what we're ultimately chasing. And ultimately, for a lot of people, money leads to creating impact. I think that's what it's done for me. It's not the money itself that's made me popular, or made me famous, or made me feel successful. It's what money's allowed me to do. It's allowed me to create a community like this. I had to work, and now I'm able to do this. So really get clear on your goals, get clear on why you're doing multifamily. It really is an entrepreneurial venture. It really is an amazing business. It's an amazing thing where you can take one skill that you do really well at. You can either property manage, you can asset manage, you can find deals, you can deal with investors, whatever your skill set is, you can get really good at it, really enjoy it, and try to systematize it. And you have an amazing group of people on this call and in the community to start sharing those resources. You know, I wanted to have a community that had an abundance mindset, because I didn't have an abundance mindset for so many years until I saw, wow, read The Go-Giver. I've interviewed Bob Berg twice. Who even knew I'd had a chance to interview Bob Berg? I interviewed him twice. That go-giver mentality is very hard, but that's what I'm trying to instill in this community, because multifamily is a team sport at the end of the day. There are very few people that can do this job or this business by itself, because you need so many different types of personalities and so many different types of skills. Find out the skills that you have, find out the skills that you love, learn the entire business, learn how to underwrite, learn how to property manage, learn those skills, but then only find out what you like, where you, my brother, he continues to say, where you can add value to others, then partner with those people. And then always work on that personal vision. Always ask yourself, why am I doing this? What are my values? I need values-based decision-making. I need to go and choose my decisions and my personal vision based on my values. Because if you don't live in congruency with your values, something's going to be off, and you're going to make the wrong decisions for yourself. Whether you're partnering with somebody, whether you're doing a deal, whether you're raising money from an investor, if they don't align, it's going to be a short-term hit, trust me. But it will be a long-term win for yourself. And I've learned this the hard way. And most of us have to learn it the hard way, because we don't know. But really set up those values, set up that vision, and figure out why you're doing this. And then once you understand that, man, anybody can learn about a cap rate or cash on cash return. Real estate really hasn't changed that much. It's really about relationships. It's about the network, and it's about being engaged every day and moving that needle every inch. And don't forget, to look back and to say, wow, I've actually done a lot this last month, instead of saying, man, I haven't done anything, I'm a loser. We all feel that pain, trust me, but we never measure our goals by looking back. Start measuring your goals by looking back and see where you come from, instead of thinking of always where I need to go. That's the problem. It's great to have that vision 3 to 5 years, but forget, I mean, most of us weren't in multifamily a couple of years ago. Most of us didn't even know what multifamily was. And now we're on a call at 9:30 on a Tuesday night talking about real estate. I mean, that's amazing. That's a goal in and of itself, if you think about it. I mean, I think I'm amazed by that. So if you really have to stop and take a deep breath and say, you know, it's been tough, but I've progressed and I've grown as a person. And now I have all these skills and all these ideas, and I'm implementing it. And I need a community. I need somebody to be able to lock into and to hold myself accountable. And I think my brother's done a fantastic job with laying out the pods, laying out how to access them. And if you have any questions, ask him. You know, give yourself a little bit of time if you've just joined to be able to immerse yourself in the education. Don't give yourself too much pressure, but don't wait too long. Get on there and let people push you. And, you know, to live, as Tony Robbins says again, the more uncomfortable you can get in life, the more, I guess, successful or the more accomplished or fulfilled you're going to be. Because, hey, 5 years ago, you wouldn't catch me dead in a pod call talking to people. But you know what? 5 years later, I look back, I'm like, wow, I've grown a lot. And it's just taking those punches and taking those swings and knowing what my personal vision is. So once again, I just want to thank him for putting this call together. This has been a lot of fun. It's been awesome. I'm glad seeing you all, you guys.
Me and my brother, we've been in the restaurant business. I used to drive up to work with him, pick his brain for 45 minutes. He used to try and put music on, and I'd be like, how can we make the menu better? And I used to always bother. This is the first time we're on a call in like 5 years. We don't do calls together. This was really surreal and cool. You know, so Jake and him do his thing, and I stay out of the way. The little crazy brother stays out of the way. But I want to end it with one good thing. Think big. I love my bro's quotes I got on the wall. When I onboard somebody new, think big, start small. That's why I love this community. That is an awesome quote. My brother doesn't say 90 units, 90 days. You don't need that. He's okay with you doing a 4-unit proof of concept with a broker. And I want Neil, you're right there. I want to bring Neil on right now. Neil, for everybody who goes, I'm stuck. Everybody's stuck. Multifamily is the most competitive space. Neil, 2 years in, bro, you were with my brother and me, and I was on calls with you and Hadar and Yosef and Gino. You're doing mailers and pounding text and pounding calls. 18, 20 months in, you got your 8-unit in with your nephews. That's why it's even more life-changing. And now you're doing a refi and you're pulling 500 grand out. Just tell about your story, how like you didn't give up, bro. 2 years.
It took 2 years from when I started really pounding away seriously, and then it took me 13 months in the market with my nephews, and my nephews are local to the area. So with them pounding the pavement, between them pounding the pavement and direct to seller, text, cold calls, not too many cold calls.
You did, you know, it's funny. You
reaching
did
out to brokers, mailers.
Everybody who's kind of doing like mailers are kind of too many people doing them now. There's still, it's part of the method of the direct to seller. You do the mailer, tied in with the cold call, tied in with the text.
Yes.
They actually still do work, but not as much, maybe 3%, 5%, where they used to be like 20%, because everybody does them, but it ties in. We have psychological ways of, I put my family picture on where I sell my wife and my beautiful wife and kids that, hey, I want to sell to them. And I actually bought this house because the seller saw my 3 kids and my wife, and he pictured like, I want to sell to these people. I want this house to go to that beautiful family. So we know how to build that mailer with the wording we have and that strategic wording for your mailer. And you got it direct to seller, right? Was it through a mailer or no?
It actually was through a mailer. It was through a mailer. It was Hadar's guy, actually. Hadar hooked me up with the guy. The guy sent out the mailers for me. I was doing mailers myself, like individually handwriting the addresses. And it just got like time consuming for me.
He's running a business. He's a retired fireman running a nursery school with his wife, and he's handwriting mailers. He wants it bad. It's like, how bad? Eric Thomas says, how bad do you want it? Neil wanted it fucking bad. So I just want to end with, Neil, I'm proud of you, man.
I want to throw one more quick thing out there. If somebody feels stuck, just keep pounding away at that market, because that 13 months allowed me to intimately know that market. Know it block by block, building by building.
Yeah. If you need a new market, you go to secondary market. That's what we're teaching. So learn that market. That's your primary. You can learn a secondary market. It's not a shiny object, but like he said, he knows that market inside. Hadar, I sent Hador an Arkansas property from a broker. He's like, I looked at that 5 times. He knows like 3,000 properties deals in Arkansas. I can't send him a deal without him knowing it. It's like, it's crazy. So I mean, that's wanting it bad, and that's so basic. What I want you guys, I need you in this space for 5 years. I don't care about a deal. I just want you to learn, network, like my bro said, build relationships, stay in this space 5 years. Because then in Jake and Gino, you're gonna get, if you're gonna learn and you can add value, you're gonna get deals come to you all the time. Like Aaron Nelson, I saw he was putting the work in, and Jesse called him like, this dude's putting the work in. He's really awesome. I met Aaron down in Orlando when my brother spoke. By the way, Gino, that was like 2 years ago. That was the best. Dude, even Julia said you kicked ass, dude. You didn't say like or once. Chris Jackson was there. You were there. It was Nikolai Ray in Orlando. That's where I shook your hand, Aaron, and I started talking to you because I shook your hand at that event. You got in my vision. I'm so busy. If you get in my vision and I see what you're doing, you're putting the work in. Jesse called him like, you know what? He's near there. I got to get Aaron over there. So that's when I talk about being present. I do a free meetup. I see who shows up. I see who's putting the work in. And that's what it is. Like Neil, put the work in, show up. Don't, and by the way, meetups, don't go to all these meetups. But if you see like a Nick Amaluxin meetup or a Colin Schwartz meetup, like there's a free Zoom at night, go to it. You see one of mine or Chris, go to the important ones. And like I say, because if you're present, that's where it happens. And especially with me, if I see you're present, I see you're putting the work in, it's gonna work. It's gonna happen. So ending on that, I just want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank my brother for coming. This is a surprise. We did this without planning for it. I just built something, and this
You
is
put
awesome.
it on the calendar. I'm like 8 o'clock mark. I'm like, dude, I gotta eat dinner.
I
And I
didn't
got
even
other
get to
stuff.
come this morning. I didn't. I want to do the DiMartino thing with you, dude, because we're gonna kick ass on that.
But if you ask me to do something, I'm going to do it. I mean, it's like I'm not going to do it. So I mean, it's like commitment and consistency. That's a value for me.
I got excited, so I did ask you to come this morning.
Of course you did.
I can't
Even
remember.
this thing that I saw, I look at the calendar this morning. I'm like 8 p.m.
I'm
What's this guy doing?
free, and my big brother. I worked from 8 to 5. I had dinner from 6 to 7. I'm on a call tonight, and I'm done at 10 o'clock because I love this shit. And I told my brother, I'm like, I can't do days like this too often, man. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, so tomorrow I'm taking it easy. Maybe only in 10 hours, 14 hours. We'll see.
Now, tomorrow night we got Toastmasters. So anybody on here who wants to be on the weekly Toastmasters, 8 p.m. with Jake and Gino, I want to talk about being uncomfortable. We've been doing it for about a year. I don't know if Bill Hamill's on here. Bill Hamill, I just saw a comment. That's what sparked the thought. My brother, last thing I'll say is about being top of mind. When you're top of mind to other people, you're out there and they're seeing it. And like Neil said, Neil's an amazing speaker now. 6 months ago, we had a few a few ahs.
Always got build that good shit.
Yeah. It's great. So there's so many resources. We have the Jake and Gino. We have a monthly group coaching call once a month. Me and the wife are on. My wife has a weekly Women Who Wheel Our Profits on Thursday at 12 p.m. We have the masterclass Mondays every Monday. We have that regular Toastmasters every Wednesday. So you see, there's so many different touch points, and these touch points allow you to be top of mind and allow you to continue to put that work in to have that momentum that you need. Hour here, half an hour there. At the end of the month, you've got an extra 8 to 10 hours of work put in. At the end of the year, that's an extra 500 hours. It doesn't seem like a lot, a Toastmasters call or a podcast tonight or a Monday lesson. But at the end of the month, they add up. And at the end of the year, you're like, wow, I really accomplished a lot when you look back. So I just want to thank my brother for having me on. Love talking to all of you. And like I said, once again, Gino, JakeandGino.com, just hit me up with any questions.
Take a picture. We almost forgot. We need 2 pictures of everything. And you do your thing on social media for my brother. Come on, make it happen, bro.
I already took it.
Oh, you did?
But you know what? Show us all the face. 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
Let's do it again.
This is Yosef, 2 thumbs up.
This is like Vinny Chopra.
Come on, guys. Show your face. 2 thumbs up. 3, 2, 1. There you go.
All right. So, Gino, what we're going to do now, Yosef, we're going to give it to fucking Gary Vee tomorrow morning. I want you to build a nice post. We shared the guys. Here's a little last tip. This is the Gary Vee approach. And you start following me on Facebook. And I booked Chris Jackson's $17,000 he made in 5 hours with 0 advertising spend, where people have to spend $3,000 to book it. Yosef, you post it tomorrow morning. I'll tell you what to post about what we did. We let it sit an hour. We get 10 likes. That'll help it trend. Once it hits 10 likes, I share it to Passive Active. I share it to my page. We share it to 15 platforms, and we'll get it in front of 50,000 eyes. Boom. Gary Vee attack. Last thing, I just want to thank everybody. This is awesome. You guys, I appreciate you guys very much. The energy, my brother, everybody here, the Jake and Gino Go Giver community he built. I'm in a deal with Darren Light, life changing because of my brother. It's just great. I appreciate you guys coming. Gino, you have this recording now. We could give it to everybody. We'll put a nice email out. They can see it, get the mindset ready. Once they get in the pod, they know what to do. It's going to make the pods more successful. I want you guys to create your own pods. And I just want to say thank you and good night.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Marco. Thanks, Gino.
Thanks, guys.